Be up in about 2 or 3 more minutes, okay? I'm so sorry for the problems, everyone, okay? Bad day, bad weather. I don't know what's going on, but yeah. Patience is a virtue. It's just not one that we all have in large amounts. Even me. Oh, okay. All right. So I should be back on YouTube now. I think I'm back here. And now I just need someone to tell me if the quality is any better. Is the quality better now or not? Has it improved at all? Thank you, Miguel, so much. Sun says it's okay. Yeah, it's okay. All right, well, let's hope it stays okay, everyone. I hate technical problems. I hate technical problems. But they happen sometimes. I'll teach you a good idiom. I'll teach you an idiom. Since you guys had to deal with my problems, then I'll teach you this idiom. Sometimes you have to roll with the punches. Sometimes you have to roll with the punches. This means that sometimes, it's a boxing metaphor, it's all about, or a boxing idiom, it's all about boxing. And it means sometimes you're going to get hit, but you have to keep going. Sometimes you have to roll with it. Roll with it is another short version of that. Roll with it just means, hey, look, yeah, there's some problems sometimes, but you got to roll with it. You got to roll with it. Okay? Well, I'll try to leave the room one more time with my Hello Talk, but I don't think it's going to get any better in Hello Talk. I don't think. I could be wrong, but... Well, now something's really weird. Any better? Okay, well, let's try to see if we can just roll with it from here on out, okay? Let's try to roll with it. I can't remember what we were talking about. Nora, I don't think it's the camera needs to be cleaned. It's not that. I never even touch my cameras, so it's not that. Okay. Guys, Miguel is my technician friend, and Miguel assures me this is as good as it can get. So, guys, listen to me. If you don't like the quality of Hello Talk, you have to follow my YouTube, or tell Hello Talk, not me. I spent all the money I have to buy the best equipment you can get. I promise you, this is the nicest computer you can use for live streaming. Okay? Nearly the nicest computer you can use. Okay? You can't hear me. Okay, this is really starting to frustrate me now. Guys, come on. You're killing me here. You're killing me with these complaints. Malcolm says he can hear me. Nora says she can hear me. The YouTube ID. Let me give you my YouTube. Hold on. Let me do that for you one more time. Search for AFIEC, and you should find it. Okay? Or you can join that link there, or not join it, but copy and paste that link. Okay? How much is the mic? It's about $500 US. Something like that. It depends on where you buy it, but it's about 500. And yes, that's a very, very expensive microphone, but if you notice, I'm a musician. So actually, I use this for more than just this. This microphone is also a really great bass drum microphone because it picks up all the low end. It's a low end microphone. So, not everyone needs this quality of microphone. But if you want to do broadcasting, if you want to do voice acting, if you want the quality of your voice to be as good as it can possibly be, that's the one to get. Is it a Rode? No, it's an Electro Voice. Electro Voice RE20. The RE20. All right. Let's reset. Let's reset and see if we can start again. Okay, let's reset and see if we can start again. Here. Yeah. RE, not IE, Nora. RE. RE20. Okay, did I miss any important comments or questions? Esther says, I don't know why people are complaining. It's fine. Okay. All right. Well, I'm glad. I hope it is. Yeah, you guys have to remember, this is the internet. Okay. So it's not always me. It might be your connection. Okay. It might be HelloTalk. It's not always here. Okay? Okay, student says how to deal with stress. Learn to play the drums. Drums are the greatest instrument in the world for dealing with stress. You hit things hard. And it's fun. All right, let's see. Thank you, Miguel, again for your help. I really appreciate it. Miguel is the best, everybody. Miguel has helped me put together all of this. If I didn't have Miguel, then this wouldn't even be happening. So everybody should thank Miguel for helping me. He is one of my most loyal followers and friends here. Thank you, Ribamar. I try to be nice. I don't think I'm always nice, but I try to be. You can't please everyone all the time, you know? Yeah. And it's wet and cold here too, Miguel. It's wet and cold here too. Yeah. And I did see there are some internet problems. There are some outages in this area, so I hope the internet will continue to stay, consistent now. But if it doesn't, it probably is because of some kind of a weather problem. Okay? Hello, Belen. Good to see you. Hugs. Yeah, Miguel is my personal technician. He does it for no money, and I really appreciate it. I really, really do. So, yeah, Miguel, thank you. We need a special song for Miguel? Yeah, we do. I'll come up with a good song for Miguel next time. It'll be the Miguel song. All right. I'm okay. We're okay now, I think. We're okay now, I think. So we can continue talking and chatting, and maybe somebody wants to come on stage and talk to me. Hossein wants to know, what does bus a table mean? Hossein, in American restaurants, we have the waiter. The waiter is the guy who comes to take your order. Hello, may I take your order today? You know, what would you like to eat and drink? Right? That's the waiter. He waits on you. Sometimes we also call them the server because they serve you. But many restaurants also have another kind of person called a busser. B-U-S-S-E-R. A busser. A busser's job is only to clean the tables, to take all the dirty dishes and put them into a bin and then take them back to the dishwasher to clean so they have fresh plates and dishes to use again. Okay? So his job is only one thing. Get the dirty plates and dishes off the table into a bin and clean the table to make sure it's ready for a new customer. That's a busser. That is bussing the table. To bus the table. Okay? And yes, Blake, I'm drinking coffee. Of course I'm drinking coffee. I hate the morning. The morning hates me. I need coffee to get through my morning. How many instruments can I play? Danushka, if it's a drum, I'll play it. I won't be a master of it, but I've been playing drums for a long time, so there's a pretty good chance that if you put whatever drum it is from wherever in the world in my hands, I'll probably figure out how to play it. If you notice behind me, there's an Indian drum there, and up on the shelf over here above my head, there's a Middle Eastern drum there, right? Dumbek, tabla, or sometimes called dolak, right? So if it's a drum, I can probably play it, okay, or have played it. I also play some piano. I also play a little piano. That's it. Okay? Do they use dishwashing machines in restaurants? Yes, they do, but they still need a person to operate the machine and to process the plates. So the machine does the cleaning, but then they still have to put them in and take them out. Yeah. Yeah, so bussing a table just means to clean the table and prepare it for the next customer. And to remove the dirty dishes and plates. Okay? Hello, Kayla, and my other Chinese friend whose name I can't read. Ni hao. 如果你不会说英文，没关系，听我看我，每天你可以。Okay? 我教你，好不好？ Okay? 熟能生巧，加油。有时候我觉得，我说一点太快了，可是有时候我说慢一点。Okay? Sometimes I'll speak quickly, sometimes I'll speak fast, but it's okay. You just do your best and try to listen and try to learn. Okay? What time is it in America now? It is 11:23 a.m. If they don't clean the dishes in the dishwasher, the clients will be disappointed. Well, that's true, Esther, but there are some restaurants that still hand wash everything. There are some. Not many, but there are some. Yeah. Is tipping considered a must in the U.S.? Hossein, I'll probably say yes. most of the time, but not all of the time. Okay? Fast food restaurants, no, I'm sorry, but I still say no. Okay? I grew up in a time period when you don't give a tip to the guy at McDonald's. I'm sorry, but no. But sometimes they might ask for one now, like especially if you do your ordering online. They'll always ask you, do you want to add a 15% tip? If it's McDonald's, sorry, but no. I'm not even sure that that money is going to the workers. That might just be going to McDonald's. They don't need more money for that burger, that's for sure. Okay? So at fast food restaurants, most of the time you don't need to tip. If it's a small individual restaurant and if you have any server, if you have people who are serving you, a waiter and a server, yes, those places you need to tip because those workers often don't make, that's the way it works here, okay? So if you're not tipping them, then they probably will barely survive. Truly, I'm not exaggerating when I say that. That's like, if you don't pay your waiter here, they can't pay rent. Okay? If you don't tip your waiters, they can't pay their bills. Okay? They make a significant amount of their money from tips. Okay? Now, if you go to very expensive hotels, very expensive restaurants, very expensive anything, they expect a tip. That's just the way it works. Okay? But if you're going to a normal hotel, no, you don't have to tip them. But it's not a bad idea if you want them to help you more. Okay? So if you need someone to help you more, then you should tip them. If someone was very, very helpful to you, you'll offer them a tip and they'll say, no, it's okay, okay? But you should say, no, please take it. I insist. Okay, be generous. It'll come back to you. That's the way I see it. Generosity comes back to you. Okay? But so does stinginess. If you are stingy means, I don't want to tip anywhere. I don't tip. You're stingy. If you don't tip in America, then you shouldn't eat out. You don't have enough money to eat out if you can't afford to tip. That's the way we see it here. You shouldn't eat out if you don't have enough money to tip them at the restaurants where they need it. Okay, you should cook your own food and figure it out. It's not that hard, actually. Okay? All right. Let's see. Hello, Naz from Iran. Is the opposite of a bold person a timid person? That's one word you could use, Subaru. That's one word, the opposite of bold. So go to dictionary.com. If you go to dictionary.com and you can type in the word bold first, and it will give you the synonyms for bold, but it also gives you the antonyms for bold below that. So the antonyms for bold are afraid, cautious, cowardly, fearful, meek, shy, timid, unadventurous, undaring. Okay? So those are the first 10 or so that come up as antonyms for bold. Okay? How much should you tip usually? Here's the way I do it. You don't have to do it this way, but this is the way I do it, okay? Usually the standard minimum is 15%. 15% of whatever your bill was. That's the standard minimum. Now, what does that mean? That means that if I go someplace and maybe the server was a little rude, maybe he was a little bit rude to me, or maybe the food really wasn't very good, then I will probably leave 10% or less. If the server was really bad, then I'll leave 2 pennies. 2 pennies. That's my 2 cents. Have you ever heard that? let me give you my 2 cents. That means let me tell you what I think. So if I leave 2 pennies on the table, that means you sucked. You were rude. Now, do I often do that? No, I've only done that maybe twice or 3 times in my life, because most of the time I will assume this person's just having a really bad day and I don't want to make their bad day worse. So most of the time I'll just try to say, okay, maybe they're having a bad day, just 15%. That's it. Because, yeah, bad days happen. I have them. You've seen them. Okay? But if they did a good job, if they were very polite and they were fast and they were very attentive to your needs and they were cordial, they were friendly, 20% or even more. Okay? 20%. I most of the time leave 20%. Because that's a hard job. Believe it or not, it is. If you've never done that job, then you don't know. It's not a fun job. So in general, I usually try to leave 20%. Okay? My Chinese has improved a lot, Blake says. Well, it has, Blake, but that's because I'm teaching everybody. 如果你要学一个文，你需要用那个文在你的脑里，每天你需要用，每天你需要上英文或中文。如果你学中文，你上中文；如果你学英文，你上英文。Yeah. So now I think in Chinese here a lot. And because I think in Chinese a lot, I'm able to use it pretty well. It's not perfect, but it's good enough for me. McDonald's is not as good as Chinese food. Well, nobody said it was, man. Nobody said it was. McDonald's is not even a good burger. If you think McDonald's is a good burger, then you don't know what a good burger is. Okay? Yeah. All right. Did I miss any comments over here? Let's see. Would it be a felony to not tip them? No, it's not a felony. It's not a crime. But it's just considered really rude and impolite. Yeah. Okay? Yeah, to be stingy means to be cheap. Yeah. Hello, Anna. Sand, I'm sorry to hear about that with your girlfriend's family. Families can be hard sometimes. Can I give you tips about talking on the IELTS speaking section or reading section? Yeah, I can give you a few. Here's one big tip. Don't prepare something ahead of time. They will know. Okay? If you try to say, well, I'm going to write something really, really intelligent sounding so I sound really smart and I'm going to memorize it and then I'll use it when they ask me a question, they're going to know that you just prepared something that you wanted to use, and that is actually a sign of that your language is not good. Okay? Spontaneous language is what they're looking for. If you don't give them spontaneous, then they're going to think that your language is not good. So for the speaking part, don't try to prepare something ahead of time. Don't try to prepare certain words that you want to use to show off your intelligence and your vocabulary. Just try to speak honestly and passionately about whatever they say. That's it. That's what they're looking for. Spontaneous, passionate language. If you do that, you'll do fine. Okay? To practice the reading, you need to practice reading, but you need to practice with a timer. The thing that makes the reading part difficult of any test is that you have a time limit. So you need to learn how to maybe set a time limit of 15 minutes and read an article, and then you have to write about it or tell about what this article was about within that amount of time. Practice that all the time. Okay? That's why I tell people that cooking is a great skill to learn because it's yummy, but cooking is a great skill to learn because cooking teaches you to do things within a time limit. Okay? Cooking teaches you how to work within a time limit. If you wait too long, it will burn. You will ruin the food if you can't work in the time that you have. Okay? All right. Hazim says tipping is wrong. Just be honest, your employer should pay you wages. Hazim, I actually agree with you. I completely agree with you. But the system is already there. And if you just say, well, I don't believe in tipping, I'm not going to do it, you're the jerk, not the boss. I'm sorry. We are all trying to get the restaurants to change to pay the workers properly. And many of them have. Many of them have. But if you don't tip, you aren't punishing the boss, you're punishing the worker. Is that fair? So what you should do is tip the man or the woman, but then go tell the boss, man, you need to pay these people. They're working hard. Why are you not paying them properly? That's what you should do, okay, my friend Hazim? I tend to agree with you. I think that we don't need to be doing tips anymore, certainly not the way we did them in the past, okay? Do you know how they used to do it? They don't do it really this way anymore. It's not that bad anymore, but it used to be this bad. The minimum wage when I was in high school or just after high school was somewhere around $7 an hour. Okay, that was supposed to be the minimum amount that you could make to get paid for any job. So if you worked at McDonald's, you probably got about $7 an hour. Okay, but if you work at the cafe right next to the McDonald's, they pay their waiters $2 an hour. $2 an hour. So they had to earn tips because you really can't make anything off of $2 an hour. Okay? And what's the point of tip? What is the point of the tip? The point of the tip is there's a story. It's not entirely true, but I like to tell it anyway. Some people believe that the word tip was created because it stands for to ensure promptness. It's not true, but I like this idea. It is a motivational tool, right? To use tipping is a motivational tool to try to encourage the person who is serving you to do better, to be more polite, to be faster, to try to make your experience the best experience it could be. And some waiters are really, really good at their jobs and they make you feel wonderful while you're there. And they deserve to make more money because they are doing they're trying harder. Okay? Some people really care and try to make it the best they can. Okay? So, in general, I agree with you, Hazim. But just remember what I said. If you don't tip, you are not punishing the boss. You're punishing the worker. So, tip. But then go complain to the boss. That's the way it should work in America. That's the way it does work in America. If you really don't like it, that they're not making enough, go complain to the boss. Okay? Hello, everyone. Why did I go to Taiwan before? It's kind of a long story, but mostly because I was tired of being here. I needed a change. I was burned out from being a musician, and I wanted something different. And I had a friend there, and he invited me to come, so I did. Okay? Married people, especially with children, get frugal, not generous. Some of them, yeah, and I would say frugal is a generous term. Stingy is kind of usually the case, but not always, Hazim. There are some families that recognize they know what it's like to be a worker or a server like that, and so they will pay more, especially if their children are not good in the restaurant. Then you should leave more money. If you bring your children to the restaurant and your children are screaming and yelling and running around, you better leave a tip. Okay? You better. Or don't bring your kids anymore. That's the way I see it. Okay? So if we're going to be honest about these things, if you have kids, I get it, you have kids. But why should I have to put up with your kids' behavior in a public place? I shouldn't. I shouldn't. I'm sorry, but I shouldn't. Now, I understand there are exceptions. There are exceptions. But in most cases, you don't have to bring your kids to the restaurant. You could stay home and cook. Or get a babysitter. Yeah. You can't manage work under a time limit. It makes me nervous. Yeah, I don't like it either, but it's good practice to try. Okay? Esther says, spontaneous sounds natural, but sometimes you need to memorize some structures to feel confident. Structures I might be okay with you memorizing. Structures. But if you make it too rigid, if you memorize too much, they're going to notice and they're going to think that's bad. Okay? Can I tell you how to tip generously but not bribe? 20%. Leave 20% and you're a good human being. You've done your part. 15% is okay. Somewhere between 15 and 20, you're fine. 20 is generous, 15 okay. That's it. Okay? And yes, Hussein says you can't live your life off a 9-to-5 job. Inflation has gone through the roof. That's right. Guess what, everybody? There are many, 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 many people in America who have not one job, not two jobs. They might have 3 or even 4 jobs. I know a few people who have 3 or even 4 jobs. Because, yeah, I know you think America is all roses and everything's wonderful here, but it's expensive. And there is no one can make it make sense. It doesn't make any sense. Well, it does to the rich people. They made it that way. They like it that way. Some people see tipping as gifts or a bribe, not as appreciation. Well, then you don't understand this culture. That might be how you see it in your culture. But when in Rome, Roma, you must do as the Romans do. You're in my country, then you have to do it the way we do it. Okay? If I come to your country, I expect to follow your traditions and cultures. If you come here, you got to follow ours. So tip. Okay? All right. Is everything still going okay here in YouTube? I don't see anybody commenting. Is YouTube okay still? Everyone? So let's see. Somebody's asking me something about my love life, and I don't talk about that. I'm sorry. I don't talk about that. We have an idiom for that. A gentleman never tells. Okay? I don't think that anyone you dated is going to appreciate it if you talk about them when they're not there. So I'm not going to talk about any of my relationships because that person's not here. So that's rude to talk about them in that way. Maybe they don't want to be talked about. Okay? And I don't like gossip. Gossip is not good. We all know that. So I'm sorry, but there are some things that no, I'm not going to tell you about that. Okay? I have to keep some things for myself. Sumit says, dear teacher, I'm good in basic English, but when it comes to corporate English, at that time I'm blank. All right. So corporate or business English, there's one very important thing about business English. It has to be new. It has to be the most current. It must be modern. If you have a book from 20 years ago, a lot of that's not useful anymore. So when I go online, now most of the business English websites are courses. They're a course you can sign up to learn business English, right? It's a course you can sign up for. And that's probably the best way to do it because that's the best way to make sure it stays current. If you publish a book, then next year that book is not good anymore. So a course is really the best way to go. All right? But what kind of corporate or business English do you need, Sumit? What business are you in? What industry are you in? It depends on what kind of industry you're in, too. Okay? Okay, Sky, what is that? Yeah, Sky, are you spamming my chat? Don't do that. Sky, bonsoir. Don't do that. I don't like that. This is my audience, not yours. Get your own audience, Sky. Okay? Please do not try to sell things in my chat. That's not cool. You didn't ask me. That's definitely not cool. All right? Come on. Okay. You apologized, so we're okay because you apologized. All right? But next time, if you want to do something like that, Sky, business is about building relationships. Okay? So if you want to, then you should talk to me and say, hey, this is my business. Would you ever care if I were to tell people about my business? Maybe I'll say yes. Maybe not. I might say, no, I'm sorry, but that has nothing to do with what we're talking about in my streams. But maybe I will. Okay? But you should ask. You should ask. Okay, Sky? No, I didn't get mad. One time, and they apologized. I'm not mad at all. As a matter of fact, thank you for apologizing. It's that simple, people. Mistakes are okay if you're willing to apologize for them and learn from them. And it appears that Sky has learned. So we're all good now. All right? I'm not mad. Okay? Okay. I need, water under the bridge. There's a good one. Hazim, your English is pretty good, man. Water under the bridge is an idiom that means, it's okay, no problem. It's just like water flowing under the bridge. No big deal. Okay? All right. Somebody wants to talk to me. How about SS in Russia? Raise your hand if you want to talk to me, or if you're too scared, then don't raise your hand. You raised your hand, SS. You can't. All right. Who else wants to? How about Yassine? Yassine wants to talk to me in... Yassine is in... Is that Chad? I think... I'm going to guess Chad.
Hello.
Hello, Yassine. How are you? Are you in Chad or are you in Belgium? Which one?
No, I'm Belgian, but I'm currently in Morocco.
Ah, okay. Well, it's just the flag. The Belgian flag and the Chad flag, they look really similar, and I always get them mixed up which one's which. Yeah. So.
Oh, that's a shame. You should teach me some English, and I should teach you some geographic.
Well, you know what, man? I've been using this app for more than 10 years, and I've talked to thousands of people, so I'm almost a flag expert. If you had to give me a
Really?
test, I can guess flags. The other day, somebody was very impressed that I knew the flag of Bhutan. If you know the flag of
yeah.
Bhutan, then you're doing okay. So how are you, my friend? Bonsoir.
Yes, no, I'm fine, but today I'm a bit, I would say, down in the dumps.
Okay.
Since we lost yesterday. Yeah, yesterday we lost in the African Cup of Nations.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm
Perhaps-
sorry. I don't follow sports very much, and I definitely don't follow football very much because I'm an American. But yeah,
Yeah.
it happens, man.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My team just my American football team in my city, we lost a little while back too, and it's always disappointing,
Where do you come from? Which city in the US?
Cincinnati, Ohio.
Ohio.
Yeah, it's in the middle.
And you know, my last name is one letter about Ohio.
Yeah.
It's D.
Yeah, that's right.
okay.
It's close. Actually, the word Ohio, it comes from an old Indian word, and it means great river because my city is right near the Ohio River, and it's a big river. So the word Ohio means great river. But Ohio also, if you are Japanese and you say Ohio, it means good morning.
Okay. I didn't
So-
know. Now I've had to practice my English level since I'm gearing up for a C2 proficiency,
Mm-hmm.
Cambridge English exam, and you're a teacher basically.
I am a teacher. Completely.
So what is your advice to succeed and to pass that quite tough exam for native speakers?
Yeah. Well, my suggestion is focus on your weaknesses. That's the one thing that most people don't do. Whether they're studying in general or studying for a test, everybody keeps working on the things that they're already good at. So if you're good at speaking, then you keep practicing your speaking to try to make that really good. But that's not going to help you. If you really want to improve, then you need to focus on your weaknesses and try to make them better. That's step one. And that's not just for any test. That's for learning in general. The first thing you need to do if you're trying to learn something is figure out what are you good at and what are you bad at. And then you need to dedicate most of your time towards the things that you're not very good at. All right? So that's step one. Step two is if you, let's say you, you tell me which one is reading, writing, listening, speaking, which one is the best and which one is the worst for you?
Well, perhaps I don't really know. I haven't got the foggiest idea, to be fair. But if I had to say something, I'd perhaps say speaking, since either in Belgium or neither in Belgium nor in Morocco we do practice English. French is the main language. So I do listen a lot. I listen all what I watch, all the series, all the things in English, and I read lots of news article and lots of anything in English. But the speaking is perhaps the point I don't practice it that much. So
Okay.
perhaps
All right, let's talk about that for a minute.
This is why I've created this account in that app to have the opportunity to practice.
Okay, well, that's a good start. That's definitely a good start. Let me give you two pieces of advice regarding speaking. One is that it doesn't matter where you live, it doesn't matter what country you live in. For the last 100 years, we have told everyone that immersion is the best way that you can learn a language. So move to that country and you'll learn. Well, of course, but who can afford that? Nearly no one can afford to just, oh, well, I want to learn English, so I'm going to move to America for a few years. That's a dream. That's a dream most people can't achieve. But there's another way to do it that doesn't cost you anything. Language starts in the mind. So you speak English very well, my friend. So all you need to do is start speaking English in your head all the time. Stop using French. Use English when you're thinking. So I live in the United States, but I practice Chinese all the time because I just think in Chinese.
Okay.
So if I'm watching TV, I can watch TV the way I normally do any other day, but I think in Chinese, and that's practice. So this is the way that I can boost my language level so much faster than everyone else, because you're only practicing 1 or 2 hours a day, and you're only working on writing, reading, listening, and speaking. But the rest of your day, you have 16 more hours that you're awake where you could be just trying to use the language you're trying to learn in your mind. And then how much more practice are you getting now? If you spend 50% of your waking hours thinking in English, man, your English is going to get a lot better, a lot faster. And a lot of people come and they tell me, sometimes people speak to me and I forget my words and I get frustrated and I get nervous and then I can't speak. That's the number one sign that you are not thinking in English ever. Because basically it means that you put your English in a box and you put it in the closet. And then when you need to use it, somebody comes to talk to you and now you got to go get it out of the closet and it's dusty and it's not ready. Then you get nervous and frustrated, right? So use your English all the time. You should have no problem because you speak really well. So all you need to do is just practice.
To be honest, but the thing is that they say basically in the C2 proficiency, since it's the highest level possible to achieve for non-native speakers, that you should impress the speaker or the interlocutor, or not use basic vocabulary. But to what extent, for instance, in French, I don't use C2 vocabulary.
That's exactly right. That's a silly thing. That's exactly right. Some people come on. I had one guy come on my stream and he asked me if I could use advanced vocabulary, and I said yes, I can. He said, "Can you do it now?" I said no. Because that's not how language works. You don't just randomly start changing the level of your language for no purpose whatsoever. And as a teacher especially, Albert Einstein, I always say it, he said, if you can't explain it simply, then maybe you don't really understand. Okay?
Yeah,
and as a teacher, I will also tell you, language has power, and you have to understand how to use that power appropriately. And sometimes when you're using big words, you're not doing it to communicate better. You're doing it to make yourself feel more superior. And that's not the purpose of language. Language is not so you can look down on people. Language is so you can look in their eyes. So you can talk to them and understand them and express what you feel, and they can understand you. So, here's what I will say. If you want to try to use more advanced vocabulary, then don't just randomly try to do it during your test. Apply what I just told you about thinking in English all day, but add one more part to it. Perhaps you can try to make a list of some words that you think would be useful to you. Not random words that have no value, but do you have a thesaurus? Do you know what a thesaurus is?
Yeah, thesaurus, like a book for synonyms.
Yeah. That's the way to do it, man. Is get a thesaurus, and any good thesaurus. I use thesaurus.com. It's a great app, it's free. And if you get that, you type in the word happy. Okay? And the next time someone says, "How are you today?" I feel jubilant. I'm whatever. I'm spectacular. I'm whatever. You can choose another word that's a little bit more advanced, all right? But what I'm trying to tell you is that you need to do that in practice first, not just randomly at the interview, okay? So apply what I was telling you about thinking in English all day as much as you can, as much as you can. My recommendation is 50% of your learning or studying should be thinking. 50%. So if you do 2 hours of writing, reading, listening, and speaking, that's great. But you also need to spend 2 hours of your day trying to just think in English. Okay? So I studied German in high school for 3 years, and I can't remember any of it. I can't speak much at all. You know, I know a little, but not that much. And the reason why is because in that entire time, man, not once did they ask me what language I was thinking in. Not once did they ever even suggest that you need to think in German. They didn't even tell me that when you walk down the hall, when you learn Guten Tag, you should say it in your mind as you walk down the hall and see people. Just, oh, Guten Tag, Guten Tag, Guten Tag. Just to use it, right? Just use it. If you're going to learn it, then you need to put it in your brain and make it work there. Language starts in the mind. If you have strong mental language, you will have strong physical language. But if your mental language is weak, then you have problems. Yeah. Okay? So that's my first piece of advice regarding your test and practicing speaking, but I have another set for you too. I have 4 steps that I give everyone for speaking practice. Okay? Step 1 is try to find a native speaker. So you're in Belgium. You're in what city?
Currently, I'm in Morocco, in Casablanca.
Oh, in Morocco. You're in Casablanca. Okay. So are there any native speakers in Casablanca? Probably a few, not too many, but probably a few, right?
A handful. I don't know people who are native, basically.
Yeah, but how can you find them? Do you know how you can find them? It's actually not very hard at all, man.
Really? No, I haven't got the foggiest.
If you find the food, you'll find the foreigner. Okay? Find the food, you'll find the foreigner, man. So all you need to do is figure out which restaurants in Casablanca have the best Western food, and on a Saturday morning or afternoon or evening, go there and you will find some people. Because anytime that you are living in a foreign country, I know I lived in Taiwan for a while, okay? Now, I don't like McDonald's, man, but I ate it sometimes when I was over there. Why? Because it's familiar. It's something that I recognize. It's like home in some sick way. But all of there were restaurants, there were these bars and restaurants that were the Western bars and restaurants where all the teachers hung out, all the business people who were there doing business, they were all hanging out at that place. That was one of my favorite things about going to the bar there. It was like going to the UN to have a drink. Because like there's one guy from Morocco and one guy from Canada and another guy from Australia and a guy from Belgium and another guy from America and we're all just having a beer, So find the food and you'll find the foreigner. Okay. Now, if you live in a big city, it's not that hard. Small cities, it might be harder. Okay. So that's the first step. Try to find a native speaker if you can. And then if you just draw on a piece of paper, we'll pay for French fries to speak English. Or, we'll buy French fries to practice English and just hold it up like this. And somebody will be like, hey, man, I like French fries. Which, by the way, I always like to tell people that, the story of why we call them French fries. I'm sure you must know.
or chips because
Well, that's right. The
if
Brits
we
call them
put-
chips. That's right. But it's funny because why do we call them French fries? They're not French, everybody. French fries are actually Belgian. Okay, in Belgium they call them pommes frites, right?
We got the best.
Of course you do. I agree. Yeah. But the reason why we call them French fries is because a long time ago there were a group of Belgian immigrants in America, and they were eating pommes frites. And they were speaking French, and we saw them, and we said, "Oh, fried potatoes, French fries." So that's why we call them French fries, everyone. But they're not French. It's good to know. So let me get back to my recommendations about speaking. So if you can't find somebody in your city, HelloTalk is great. But, everyone in the audience, please pay attention. 90% of people who use HelloTalk don't know how to use it well. I would say 95% of the people who download this app, they probably delete it the same day. But there's no reason to. The problem is not the app. The problem is you don't know how to use the app. Okay? So step one is this app is not designed for you to find a free teacher. There are only a few of those, like me. Okay. And I only do this because I build my following, and then some of them do pay, to buy lessons from me. So I want to help as many people as I can. And I know not everyone can afford my lessons. So I do these, right? But still, people do pay me. Okay. But on HelloTalk, most people, they think, oh, well, I can just find somebody who's just waiting to teach me English for free. What fantasy world do you live in? Okay? Because every day somebody messages me and they say, "Hello, will you teach me English? Hello, will you teach me English? Hello, will you teach me English?" And what they mean is, will you teach me English for free? No, I won't. It's my job. I'm a teacher. And being a teacher is a valuable job. It deserves to be paid. Okay? But can you get someone who will help you? You can, but not a teacher. Who will help you? A friend will help you, but you have to make a friend first. Okay? So most people, they just say, "Hello, will you teach me English?" And I don't even reply. Because quite honestly, it's kind of rude. I don't know you and you're asking me to do a big favor, right? But if you say, "Hello, my name is Yassine. I read your profile," also something you should do. Read the profile. And then say, "Oh, I see you like movies. I like movies too. Can you recommend a great movie I should see? I see you like food. I like food too. Can you tell me an American recipe that I should try? I see you like fishing. I like fishing too. What's the biggest fish you ever caught?" Fishing is what I like to consider this. Using an app like this is like being a fisherman. You need good bait. You need good bait. If you don't have good bait, nothing's going to bite your hook.
That's a sturdy fishing pole.
That's right, and a sturdy fishing pole. That's right. So the point is two things. One, you have to be polite and interesting. You need to ask a question that someone will want to reply to, not just, "Will you teach me English?" No, that's lazy. You're being lazy. You're hoping someone is going to give you something of great value with no effort. No, that's not the world we live in. Things are valuable because they require effort. So, make a friend. Okay, make a friend. Also, the other thing is, if I go fishing and I only throw out the line one time and then I go home, will I say, "Oh, I didn't catch anything today. I can't believe it"? No, you have to throw it out many, 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 many times to catch any fish. So I talk to hundreds of people if I want a response. Hundreds. If you send a message to hundreds of people, you will get people who will help you. But you have to be willing to do the work. And most people just aren't. Okay? So that's my most important, valuable tips about using HelloTalk. If you make a friend first, I have hundreds or if not thousands of them that help me with anything I want, anytime I want, because I've built friendships with them. Okay, but that takes time. Do you have something you want to say?
But by the way, I just want to highlight, and I really appreciate your guidance and tips. As a teacher, this is quite valuable, and I do really appreciate the time you're taking to
I
guide
and
to
that
guide me and those around.
Thank you for
And
saying
yeah,
that.
and I want to ask you something. Perhaps I do really appreciate you. Like you seem so affable and agreeable as a person. You know,
I
and
try to
not
be.
everybody is. Perhaps I've got some more questions in the future or something. What's the way that we can still keep in touch?
Oh, well, follow me here on Hello Talk. I have about 62,000 followers here on Hello Talk.
This is my first day.
Oh,
I don't
okay.
know anything
Well, then you
about
got
that.
lucky, my friend. You got lucky. So, yeah, click on my picture and then you can hit the follow button. And you can also send me a private message if you want to, Yassine. Yeah, that's cool.
I will.
And then I'm also on
And
YouTube.
yeah,
I'm
you're
also on
welcome in
YouTube.
Morocco or Belgium or something. If you should you need something, definitely you've got I've got your back in Morocco.
Thank you. That's
At
awesome.
least.
And I've always wanted to go to Casablanca and Marrakesh. So it's on my list.
Yeah.
It's on my list. And that's the one thing I love about doing this is, man, I've been on this app for about 10 years and I've talked to people in every place in the world, literally. Very few people, even people who have worked in the UN, probably have not had as many conversations with people from around the world as I have. And I feel extremely lucky to be able to say that. I mean,
Fortunate.
yeah, I mean, honestly, in history, not that many people have had an opportunity to talk to as many people from as many places as I have. I took advantage of this app as soon as it came out. I was in the first year I was using this app. And yeah, it's a wonderful app that has great benefit. I don't like all the features of it now, but in general, it's still a really, really good app. Okay. So I appreciate you saying thank you because that does mean a lot to me. I don't do anything that I don't care about. It's kind of a curse. So I'm not able to do work that I don't believe in and I'm not passionate about.
This isn't like for in the purpose to for praising you or something, but that's real.
I
I do
appreciate that.
wholeheartedly think that and believe that you're a great teacher and you
Thank
give
you.
guidance to all these people around. And yeah, you make a lot of benefit, and many people benefit from your guidance, and that's great.
Thank
And
you.
I wish to still benefit from it in the future and to keep in touch, basically.
And you will.
To, okay,
You will. You will.
I will definitely. I followed you.
Okay.
And I will definitely send you a message, as you said.
Do you have time for me to give you the last three pieces of little advice for speaking practice?
Yeah. I
Okay.
do.
So step one is find a native speaker. Like I said, step one is find a native speaker, and you can do that either in your town or on Hello Talk. Step two is non-native speakers. Non-native speakers also speak English, and that's good practice too. If you're not practicing with non-natives because you say, oh, but their English is not perfect, or their pronunciation is not perfect, their grammar is not perfect, well, maybe their pronunciation is better than yours. Maybe their grammar is better than yours. Maybe their vocabulary is better than yours. It's still practice. It's good. You should be doing it. It's called leaving it on the table. If you're not practicing with a non-native, then that's something you're leaving on the table. It's money that you could be making that you're not. Okay, so practice with non-natives if you can, all right? Step 3 is one of the most important ones also. And this is one that most people don't hear. If you can't find a native speaker to practice with and you can't find a non-native speaker to practice with, I guarantee you can find somebody that knows nothing at all. Teach them.
Who?
Teach
Okay.
anyone. Teaching
Okay.
is the number one best kind of practice that you can do. Because when you teach someone, you have to explain it to them. And if you don't understand it, then you can't explain it. So it really makes you figure it out. I started teaching drums when I was 18. And wow, it was a big eye-opening experience for me because I remember thinking like, wow, they ask me so many questions that I've never thought of myself. So who learns more, the student or the teacher?
Both, I'd say.
The teacher actually learns more. And the reason why is because if you have a classroom of students, that's 15 or 20 minds that are asking you questions. And many of those questions are ones that you would not have thought of yourself. So now you have to come up with the answers. So teaching is a brilliant way to improve, okay? And to practice, because it also makes you work on the rudiments a lot. You constantly are teaching the basics, and then you'll know them really, really well. Okay, so if you can't find a native speaker and you can't find a non-native speaker, teach your nephew, teach your niece, teach your neighbor, teach your boss, teach your friend, teach the guy sitting on the bus next to you. Okay? Something very simple. He knows bonjour. You say, oh, bonjour, hello. Okay, everybody knows that, but just do what you can to teach somebody, okay? And then finally, step 4, which is if you can't find a native speaker, you can't find a non-native speaker, and you don't have anyone to teach, let me ask you a question. Chess players, the greatest chess players in the world, how do they practice? If you're a master chess player, you can't just play with anyone. Because you're too good. So it's not really even good practice to play with somebody who's not very good. So what do? They play the white pieces, and then they turn the board, and then they play the black pieces, and then they turn the board, and then they play the white pieces. Speak to yourself. So, hey, Mark, how you doing? I'm pretty good, Mark. What's up, man? Not much. Weather's kind of bad today, but I'm hoping I can get out later and go to the store. Oh, really? You need to go to the store? What are you going to buy? I just had a conversation with myself. Okay? Talk to the wall. Talk to the TV. When the TV is on, anything that you're thinking, just say it out loud. I hate that guy. Why is that guy always in this show? You know, whatever, like something like that, right? Just something simple. Just talk, man. I even tell people my dog passed away many years ago, but I used to speak Chinese to him, and he understood.
Yeah, animals are quite great and
that's right.
Are able to understand
They
any type of language.
They listen. They don't care what language it is. They only care about the treat you're going to give them. So they will learn whatever language you want them to learn. You can make up a language and they'll learn it. So teach. You should speak to anyone you can. Speak to anything you can. Talk to the wall, talk to your dog, talk to the TV, talk to the mirror, talk to yourself. Those are the 4 steps of speaking practice. And why do I give you so many? Because if you have that many steps, you have no excuses. You will practice. You will practice, and you will get lots of improvement. Okay? That's the secret, is you have to find more than one way to learn. Some people forget one important thing. In life, efficiency is not always a good thing. Sometimes inefficiency is actually positive. So if you find more ways to study something by looking at more angles, it seems like that's inefficient, but it's not. You're actually, think about it like, I like to tell people it's kind of like drawing a mountain, right? If you paint a mountain every day from the same place, you're going to get really good at painting that mountain from that one view. But you need to walk down the road and paint it again from a... Start out with rock and roll, but then they teach you jazz, and then they teach you blues and funk and Latin and pop and classical music and Indian music and Brazilian music. And each one of those has to be broken down again and again and again and again and again. So I'm just applying, I would say about 80% of my ideas and techniques are just from music. I just apply them to language learning. Because music and language is a music. Music is a language. Okay.
They are inextricably linked.
Yeah, to me they are. Yeah, but it's really funny because if I ask you, do you think musicians can practice in their mind? You think, yeah, of course they can. You can hear music in your mind, so sure you can practice. But why can't you do that with language? You can. You just aren't. So, like I said, man, when I was in high school, I learned German and it all just went in one ear and out the other because they never told me about the important thing about thinking. Okay, but now I practice my Chinese and I'm confident that I could apply this to any language now and excel pretty quickly if I wanted to. Okay?
I take note of all what you said, and I wish to express again my gratitude for all
my pleasure,
these
man.
valuable
It's my pleasure.
And I will hit you up in the chat, in the private chat as you told me. And yeah, I hope we're gonna keep in touch in the future. And should you have anything to ask me for Morocco or something, I'll be more than delighted to bring my help and my expertise.
I hope I can come and we'll share some tagine.
Inshallah.
Inshallah. All right, man. Okay. I'll see you next time, Yassine.
Have a lovely day and see you very soon.
Take care, my friend. Bye-bye.
Take care. Okay. Bye-bye.
See, that was a good conversation, wasn't it? That was fun. That was nice. Okay. Did I miss anyone? Alex, once again, Alex, don't argue with me. Yes, they do. I know many a chess player, and that is exactly how they practice. They play by themselves. It's been done for a long time. Okay, so let's say you're right. Let's say that I'm wrong that they don't do it that way. Doesn't matter. The principle is still sound. You should do it that way. Okay? Spend less time trying to argue about why something won't work and spend more time trying to make it work. Okay? All right. Somebody else wants to come talk to me. Is it Majli? I'm not sure how to pronounce that properly, but you can help me. Majli Gutierrez? Hola. Hello. How do I say your name properly?
Magli.
Magli.
My
Magli.
name
It's a
is
hard G. Okay. I never know because there are some languages where it's a soft G, and like in Turkish, sometimes I get mixed up it's really difficult to try to pronounce so many names from so many places in the world, you know?
I'm from Venezuela.
You're from Minnesota. Oh, well, that's cool. Where in Minnesota?
Yeah. Zulia.
Solia. I don't know there. Okay. And, but your flag is what? Oh, I lost you. What happened? Magli, come back. Maybe the time limit? Was it the time limit? It killed her. Magli, if you're still there, please come back and I'll talk to you again. I believe you were in Minnesota, but the flag said Columbia, I think. Magli, where are you? Yeah, either the connection or maybe she might have it might be the time limit. The time limit is a killer. Okay. Alex, do some Googling. Go on YouTube and you will find lots of videos of chess players who turn the board. Okay. But you're missing the point, man. You're missing the point. Okay? You got to focus on the real thing, not what you're focusing on a minute detail in what I said that's not actually at all part of the point. Okay? Whether they turn the board or imagine it in their mind, the point is still the same. It's self-practice. Okay? It's self-practice. Well, I'm so sorry that I didn't have time to talk to you, Magli. I do hope you can come back. And whoa, somebody mentioned talking with AI. Yeah, that's another good way to practice. You can do that. Now they have voice activated AI, so you can just speak with it and have a conversation. Okay, that's good practice. Okay, in general, it's better to come up with more ways to practice than fewer ways to practice. So the more ways you can come up with, the better. Okay? Why don't I talk about this with Hello Talk? I have, Faiz. I've talked with them many times, but they just don't really. They don't agree. They don't agree that I am that my idea is a better idea. Okay? I have told them many times that what they need to do is make a way for you to buy VIP for either just my live streams, only my live streams, just a VIP subscription for my live stream. As this host, you're buying a subscription to me. Okay? Or make it so that you can buy just some features of the app. Just buy an open subscription to the voice streams or an open subscription to all of the live streams. Okay? If they did that, it would be much cheaper and a lot more people would buy it. I know that a lot of you would subscribe to my channel if they had an option for that, but they don't. And I get frustrated because sometimes I tell them and they say, okay, well, we'll tell our team. And then I don't hear anything back. And months go by and months go by and months go by. And then I ask about it again and they say, maybe in the future. And when they say maybe in the future, that means no. Okay? Because they've told me maybe in the future too many times, but none of it has come to fruition. So, and it's unfortunate because you would think that they would actually pay attention to the person who's doing this all the time. You'd think that they would pay attention to somebody who's trying to do a good job at this. Yeah. So you can message them yourself and tell them, hey, I would buy a subscription to Teacher Mark's live stream if you had that choice, but you don't. You could tell them that. That would be better. Okay? Personally, I think that the way they do the live streams here is anyone can do a live stream. Everybody in the world can get a live stream and do it if they want to. At first, I thought that was a great idea, but now I don't. No. I think they should choose like the top 100 people in the world who want to do this and do it well. Okay? And then focus on them and just give all the support to those 100 people. And then maybe next year you can add another 100. But instead of having 1,000 people who don't really focus and don't really have a program and don't really care, how about just 100 who do focus and do care and do have a program? I think a lot more people would be watching the live streams and the voice streams if there was an actual standard of some kind. Yeah. But I have mentioned this many times, and they can probably hear me now and see what I'm saying, and if they want to listen, they can, but I know. Anyway. Yeah. Okay. Any other questions for me? Developing a website is a business. Well, of course it is. Yeah, absolutely it is. And again, I also just told Yassine that this is a great app. It's a wonderful app. It's an amazing app. So don't get it confused. I do think HelloTalk is one of the greatest apps on the market today. I just think that they're crazy if they think that the rest of the world can afford to buy that VIP. It's too expensive. It's too expensive, period. The majority of people in the world will never be able to afford that price for the full VIP subscription. So all they need to do is make a couple of lower levels that are cheaper that people can afford. It's not a very hard suggestion. It's not a very difficult thing to imagine. And again, it's called leaving money on the table. You could pay for it if it were cheaper. And you would pay for it if it were cheaper. But they don't have that option. So they don't even have the option of making that money. Yeah. Anyway. How can you gain money from HelloTalk? Don't ask me. Wafa, if you want to gain money from HelloTalk, then you must start working hard to build a large following. Okay? I've been doing this for about 2 years on live streams, 10 years in total, and I have about 62,000 followers around the world. But I'm not making any money yet. So most people are not going to even try to do what I'm doing because it's not really feasible for most people. Okay? So don't try to use this app to make money. Use this app to improve yourself. Okay? Oh, Faiz says, like Netflix does. In India, it's cheaper than other countries. Well, there's a perfect example. Yeah, that's a perfect example of what I'm saying. Netflix knows they can't charge that price there and expect anyone will actually pay. So they lower it, and now they get a lot of people paying, right? Okay, Alex wants me to explain the word rid. To rid something means to remove it. To get rid of it means to get rid is a phrasal verb that means to remove something. Okay, to rid something. I'm going to rid the world of this means to remove that from the world. Okay, and that word, let's take a look at it very quickly. It comes from Old English and then Old Norse and Proto-Germanic. So the original meaning of the word rid means to clear the land. To clear the land. So maybe this word was used by farmers many years ago, long time ago, and they would say, rid the land of these plants, rid the land of the trees, which means to remove, to clear. And now we say to get rid of something means to remove it, to throw it away, to extricate it somehow. Okay? Privilege is a word. Wow, that's a hard one to describe now because it does have so many different connotations, really. But let me do this. So the word privilege can have a few meanings. If I say it's a privilege to meet you, that means like a pleasure or an honor. Okay? But privilege can also kind of have another meaning that means that you have a certain advantage that other people don't have. Okay? So if you say, I had the privilege of studying with this teacher, that means you had the advantage of studying with that person. Okay? And let's see. It comes from the Latin word privilegium. Yeah, privilegium, meaning a law that applies to one person. A bill or a law in favor or against an individual. So it actually comes from the same word that private comes from. from the word previous, meaning individual. Okay. So the word privilege is actually, it's a combination of the word private and legal. If you put those two things together, that was the original meaning. It meant that this was a law that applied to this person. Now, we don't think of it more like a law. We think of it as any advantage that applies to this person is a privilege. Okay? And the meaning of burning the candle at both ends. A candle is something that you light with a flame, right? And so if this pen were my candle, then if I light the end of the candle, the wick, right? That's one end of the candle and it's going to burn down, right? But if you have a wick on both ends and you burn it at both ends, then the candle is going to disappear more quickly, right? Twice as quickly, right? So burning the candle at both ends is an idiom that means you're working really, really hard. If you're always working and you're super tired, then you can say, I've been burning the candle at both ends. Okay? Or maybe somebody will look at you and say, wow, you look really tired today. I know you've been working hard and burning the candle at both ends. Okay? You're welcome, Wafa. Oh, wow. You have an interview with NHS Healthcare in UK and you don't have the confidence. What kind of an interview is that? You have to have an interview for healthcare? To find out what exactly? I don't understand. Hello, Jared. Hola. Oh, so you want to study biomedical science? You're going there. It's an interview about a program to study there, to study biomedical science. Is that correct? Okay. All right. So, Samuel, you said you don't have the confidence. Well, man, you need to get some because all interviews, if it's a job interview or a school interview, it's all about confidence. Okay? But I'm going to help you. You just need to try to change the way you're thinking about this situation. Okay? For a school interview, it's slightly different than a job interview, but not entirely. A school interview, you need to be confident, but you need to show that confidence through passion. Okay? What you need to do is go to that interview and show them that you are passionate about biomedical science. Talk about it, man. Tell them, how did you get into biomedical science? Well, when I was a little kid, I used to like to study under the microscope and learn about bacteria, and that really got me started into the field of biomedical science and the idea of biology and medicine and how these things work together. Talk, so